Well, good morning, everybody. It's Barb Katie, and here we are on another Magical Monday, and it's so good to be with you. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. Those of you who are football fans, I'm sure, watched the Super Bowl, and hopefully, your team won. Be that as it may, we're off on a new day in a new way for a new adventure. And today, what I think that I would like to share with you is a continuation uh, on something that we began last week, which is the importance of keeping a good frame of mind to our overall well being and living our very best lives. Uh, as I mentioned last week, there are several key components that contribute to our daily well-being, among which are emotional awareness, emotional regulation, self-esteem, resilience, healthy relationships, self-care, and purpose and meaning in our lives. So today, let's focus in on emotional awareness. I think if we self-monitor, that's sort of the key to almost all learning. This also includes being able to monitor um, our emotional awareness and how we really feel. Uh, have you ever had someone when you said, "Hi, how are you doing?" and they look at you and they say, "I'm fine." Well, that says a tremendous amount. Those 3 words, "I am fine," probably are indicating to you as they indicate to me that person is not fine at all. And then it becomes up to me to wonder if I should inquire further or just let the subject drop. Um, because sometimes that person may not even be thoroughly aware of what their emotions are that are behind that statement. Understanding and acknowledging our emotions is the very first step in maintaining good mental health and a good attitude about life in general. It involves recognizing and accepting a wide range of our feelings that are both positive and negative. Not all of us feel only positive thoughts all the time. Some of us do have trouble acknowledging or expressing those thoughts. We stuff them down. And for some of us, we stuff the emotions we feel down with food. Rather than display them publicly, we eat our feelings, as the saying goes. Uh, I have here on the screen beside me a feelings wheel. There are all different kinds of them. They're much more complicated, much more simple. Uh, but what it does, when I was looking at it today, for me, I was asking myself as I was looking at this little feelings wheel, when I'm happy, what's my response? When I'm sad, what's my response? When I'm mad, what's my response? When I'm silly, what's my response? When I don't feel good, what's my response? When I'm tired, what's my response? Well, for a lot of those, certain given days, I can say my emotional response is to self-medicate with food. Um, that's my go-to tool for coping, if you will. Uh, Not necessarily the right tool for someone with weight issues, but one needs to be honest about what one does and learn from it so that we can grow and improve as we continue our life journey. Um, some of these wheels will even characterize whether a particular emotional expression makes you feel comfortable or uncomfortable. Some of them will use words like, well, this emotion makes me feel proud, powerful, positive, feelings that are more associated with confidence. And contrarily, sometimes we identify with the global emotions, like being negative, being ashamed, being powerless or weak, with lack of confidence. So our feelings are really important. And recognizing the messages our feelings are sending is important as well. All of our feelings do provide messages. They inform us about our safety, impact our motivation, help us to identify our values, and allow or inhibit certain connections with others in our lives. Another area that you need to, or I need to look at, all of us need to look at, is developing resilience to experiencing difficult emotions. Feelings such as shame, vulnerability, sadness, grief, and major traumas may be extremely difficult to tolerate. However, there are skills that we can learn and practice that can inherently increase our tolerance to experiencing those feelings and cope with them in a more positive manner. These include mindful meditation that we've talked about quite a bit, self-compassion exercises, and body work exercise that help sufficiently calm our body's threat system so we aren't in a state of fight or flight. Information on developing such resilience is available uh, in many classes, in courses that you can take, in workbooks and videos. And sometimes we may even find we benefit from professional counseling as well in developing our level of resilience. Mindful meditation is one of those things that takes some time, but with practice, you learn to pay attention to our internal experiences, such as our thoughts, how we're feeling, what sensations we're having, and how they are impacting our state of mind. Uh, Sometimes even our physical health. If we look mindfully and calmly within ourselves. One of the things that I think sometimes we actually overlook in this process of mindful meditation is promoting a willingness to practice self-compassion. Uh, how many of you think you're your own worst critic? While it's important to be objective and accept what you discover about yourself when you're thinking things through, don't judge yourself so incredibly harshly. And don't be afraid to look at it honestly and admit that maybe, though I'm sure it comes as quite a surprise, that you might have made a mistake. Don't be afraid of that. We learn as we grow. And through our mistakes, we often experience the greatest learning and growth. Uh, it's okay to admit to ourselves that we are human and acknowledge our flaws and our weaknesses and our mistakes. And don't hold ourselves to a standard of total perfection. If you hold yourself to that standard, I can promise you, you will disappoint yourself almost on a daily basis because human beings are almost never, ever, ever, as far as I can tell, perfect. Realizing that we're not alone with our feelings, that other people may share similar feelings in similar circumstances, can give us a vehicle for discussion that will help us understand that we can grow through a variety of situations that come upon us. And forgiving ourselves is one of the things that we learn to do when we practice self-compassion. If you would forgive someone else, why would you not forgive yourself when you're trying your very best to improve? Another thing that we can do that is very helpful, I think, is to take our emotional pulse throughout the day. I know I've heard people say I can go from uh, perfectly happy to about ready to blow a gasket in a nanosecond. Well, some things happen that trigger extreme emotions at certain times, and you, at any point in the day, may not be in the same emotional place you were just a bit before or a bit afterward. Pause for a minute or two, 3 or 4 times a day, and observe within yourself what you are feeling in those moments. After identifying one feeling, take time and reflect on any other feelings you may be also feeling in that period of time. For example, if you're anxious, you may recognize that you're also feeling a little fearful or even overwhelmed. That for me can happen when I put too much on my plate to possibly get done in the course of a day. I can just become overwhelmed with what seems to be at that moment in time, a never ending list of things that still need to be checked off and probably won't get checked off during that period of time. Our days are always filled with opportunities to do this, and you may choose to practice this in reaction to interactions you're having with other people. Uh, how's it making you feel? Why are you feeling that way? Some of the times with certain people, I think we wear great big red buttons that it says push here for a real response. And, you'll push there and the person, changes how they are responding to you. And some people know how to push your buttons better than others, I think. And I know just the right button to get the exact response they're wanting to elicit from you. But if you take your emotional uh, pause throughout the day, you can prepare yourself for the way you respond to things and diffuse a lot of situations when you realize exactly what's going on there. Uh, you, some things happen in movies. Have you ever cried in a movie? Have you ever laughed out loud in a movie? You are emotionally engaged in that story. The same thing happens sometimes if you're really reading a good book. You'll be laughing or crying with or afraid or strong or whatever, the emotion you sort of take on from the story as well, and your response to the storyteller. So taking your emotional pulse gives you a better gauge of your frame of mind in that particular period of time. Another thing that's very important when you're looking at your emotional awareness, which is one of the components of keeping a good frame of mind, is to recognize the feelings that are originating with your own body. Being able to listen to your body requires practice and it requires patience. Find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. Sit or lie down, take a few deep breaths, and then go back to your regular way of breathing and start a conversation with your body. Simply ask your body, what are you feeling? What are you up to right now? And then listen to your own body. Stay with it for a few moments, as you may not get a response right away. And if you identify a feeling, ask, what else are you feeling, down inside of you? What's going on in there? Uh, Notice patterns of feeling that are associated with your behavior. This involves observing your feelings aroused in a variety of settings, such as when you are engaged in a fun thing, when you're at work, when you're dealing with particular people. What feelings are being brought forward there. Uh, are you more compassionate in this setting? Are you more playful in this setting? Do you feel more happy, more free? Just exactly how are you feeling? What behaviors lead to positive feelings? What behaviors lead to negative feelings within you? Again, it has to do with buttons that are available to be pushed. What feelings lead to specific behaviors? What feelings help motivate you to achieve your goals, and which ones inhibit taking any action? You know, that's a very important thing to be able to identify a roadblock when it comes up. Can you identify these feelings that you have in reaction to experiencing certain things? Uh, is some of it related to daily stress? Uh, uh, I don't know about you, but sometimes uh, there are feelings like anxiety, depression, and anger that come up, sometimes related to stress, sometimes not. Uh, Judgment of as to what these are, uh, while in pain is a natural part of our lives, we can learn to control the judgment that leads to much of these feelings of anxiety, depression, and anger if we can examine the root cause and what the triggers are, what stressors are in the way that we may not be able to cope with effectively at that moment in time, or may be able to find a way to diffuse those strong feelings. It's also helpful to recognize the positive feelings and what promotes them and encourages them, and try to repeat them as often as we possibly can so that we can diminish any social anxiety that we might have, that may be overshadowing the pleasure we could get out of an experience. Um, Again, this has to do with looking inside and being aware of what's going on and what the triggers are. Uh, Remembered how it feels after you do something rather than when you begin is also helpful. Uh, Maybe you were afraid to act and hesitant and resistant, but then when you went through with it, and you found the outcome was not as you anticipated it might be, you can see that you do have the power to make changes in the way you respond to things. Another thing that I think is very helpful to consider that's a little more high tech now, like our feeling wheel that I often, as a child could relate to, uh, is the apps that have been created now that they call mood meters. I know there was one that's gained some popularity out of Yale University, that helps you be more aware of your emotions and actually what's going on, and understanding those feelings that you are feeling and how uh, they can be tracked and modified through time by your own state of mind and your own actions. Emotional awareness is key to identifying our core values and our desires. As such, it's really essential for living our authentic lives instead of covering them up with a facade that people can't break through, like the comment, "I'm fine," uh, and to consequently improve our relationships, not just with our own selves, but with everybody around us. Such awareness provides the depth of understanding ourselves to be able to answer the question honestly, how am I feeling right now? Um, and I think even if you don't articulate it, if you don't even say it out loud, it's important to you to know that you understand how you're truly feeling in the moment in order for you to deal with whatever is going on in your life in as positive a way as possible. And I really think that the more we aware of what's going on inside ourselves, in our hearts, in our heads, in our most personal thoughts, that we will be better for it. And we can find a level of compassion, not only for ourselves, but for others, that will carry us forward into making every day the sunshiniest day it can possibly be, because there's always joy to be found in whatever journey we're taking, even though the path may be scattered with all sorts of obstacles. So have the best day you possibly can. Know that I'm in your corner. If you need me, just whistle, and I will talk to you later. Bye for now.